Hello viewers, Super GT here, welcome to the Scum of Gran Turismo Sport. Now whatever is making me have to make a video on this, well, you're about to find out, I suppose, that's why you're here. Okay, so this is Daily Race B, Group 4, Suzuka 4 laps. Now I'm on my second account, as you can see on the left hand side of the screen, R4M Shadow GT, so just trying to build up my driver rating essentially. Now the main issue I have is my sportsmanship rating, which isn't as high as it could be. Now I was on the GT Planet forums recently, and there were people, complaining, rightfully so, about just the general experience of the game when you're lower rated. So things like you're getting penalties when you really shouldn't be. People are nudging you wide and getting away with it, not getting penalties at all. Just the overall quality of the racing just takes an absolute dive, basically, when your sportsmanship especially isn't as high as it could be. So this game is one of those games, because of the way the ratings work, you really do have to be quite high rated before you actually get decent races. I mean a lot of people race okay, but the lower the ratings are, the higher the chances that you're going to come across people who just really don't know how to race. So we go past the Mustang, and it's the Mustang who we have to watch out for in this one, the villain of the piece, into the hairpin. There is some contact there, but that kind of happens, and I'm okay with that. It is perhaps a warning sign though. Could this perhaps turn into something more than just a little love tap through the hairpin? So through Spoon, I'm driving the Huracan now because this car is actually technically the quickest. The guy top of the leaderboard was driving this car, but it does suffer on the straights, which we're on now. So I'm going to have to go defensive. I'm just checking the position of the Mustang. Not sure that he's going to go for the move, so I take the normal racing line, go through here. We've got a decent 3 temps coming into this turn, just brake before the 100 board. And then a savage lunge from about 8,000 postcodes behind comes the Mustang, rejoin, push him off, and unfortunately the way that it works, I get the penalty for that, even though it was a savage dive bomb which was never ever going to work, and he gets a 1 second penalty, and now we're just getting overtaken by about 8,000 people. So great stuff, thank you very much, mate. So coming into turn 1, this is where it really kicks off. Mustang out of nowhere again, and actually, if he was annoyed at me, okay, but he's actually ruined 2 other people's races there as well, as I've gone into the back of them after the push. So absolutely horrible stuff. And yes officer, that is the yellow Mustang, go and arrest him please. That's the one, that's the guy. Right, behind the 4C also has the same kind of problems as the Huracan in that it's good handling wise, but not really good on the straights, so easily sailing by. The Mustang again involved in plenty of contact with the Peugeot of all cars up there in second. So the Mustang actually has a 6-second penalty now, which really isn't enough given that he's just ruined 3 people's races by shoving us all wide in turn 1, 1 lap ago. And now I of course have the 5-second. Now I understand my 5-second, I understand it because I came back onto the circuit. It's just very frustrating because it was as a result of the dive bomb that I went off in the first place. But we continue. And coming through the S's here at Suzuka, we're just looking for an opening, and there it is, and through we go with a nice dressing of contacts. We go through another 5-second penalty, but honestly it's worth it. Or is it worth it? This is the question, because sometimes I do think it's best just to not ever get penalties at all costs, even if it's satisfying to do so, or even if you're in the right. Across the line, we actually keep our 3rd position. I had a decent enough gap, and the Italian in the Mustang finishes 5th. So there's some justice, I suppose, that I didn't lose out to that idiot. Now this was another example of how things go. So again, what I was just saying there, the fact that, okay, we got our little revenge hit on that guy, but my sportsmanship rating is just going to suffer even more as a result, which is the problem, because now I'm just going to be stuck in these lower rated races forever. Sometimes it's best, I think, just to change your approach and just completely forget about results and just go clean. So if someone's up your inside, just give them this, just let them have it, and just never never have contact. You can see here, I blocked turn 1, and this is another thing that's very frustrating. And just get forced wide. I mean, I covered it off. I knew that the Alpha was really quick for that turn, so I went defensive, and the guy just kind of just barges you wide and just carries on. And the thing is, unless you go off the track, there's not going to be a penalty. The weird way the penalty system works. If I had just driven off the circuit, I might have actually got him a 5-second penalty. But because I stayed on, there is no penalty. I go back past him eventually at the end of that lap. And this is the end of the race now, so I've actually pulled away by like 5 seconds nearly. And the Spaniard up ahead with a 1-second penalty should be able to still keep his second place, but he messes it up a little bit. And we just managed to take that second place with a clean race actually that time, so no penalties, which is a good thing. So we're still just trying to improve that SR. That's the main thing. I think you just really do have to just escape from the low rated races. And even if your sportsmanship rating is S, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are at the top of S, so you can actually divide it up even more. So there's a guide in the description, I've just linked it. If you want to check your exact sportsmanship rating and your driver rating, there's a thing you can do using the Kudos Prime website, so you can find out exactly what your rating is. So it's measured out of 99. If it's 94 and lower, you can still be S rated, but you won't be matched up with the best players. You won't be matched up with the highest rated sportsmanship players. So you do want it to be above 95. I think it's 95 or 96. So you still want it to be high. And here's another example. Through turn 1, another pass with contact. There's no way you could have got through without contact. So it's just really frustrating. The frustrating experience, man. I've got to tell you. And I see a lot of people in the comments. I mean, a lot of you guys have said the same thing in the comments. I've seen it on the forums. I've seen it in a lot of places, people having very bad experiences, and I can totally see what you mean. When your sportsmanship rating isn't up there, my God, the people it's just another whole world. It really is. And that's why I definitely recommend getting your sportsmanship up. Just focus entirely on that and get it all the way up. And maybe just, again, changing your approach, forgetting about results. Of course, still race and go for it, but just really avoid contact and penalties at all costs. Just really change the way you drive, just to absolutely make sure you don't get any. I was having too much fun taking revenge on people because I was just getting frustrated and a bit hot under the collar, as you can see with the Mustang guy earlier. And that was only digging the hole deeper. It was only getting worse. I was only making the problem greater for myself, and the recovery time back to the top of my sportsmanship rating was just going to take longer and longer the more that I did that. So another tip, I think, is focusing on qualifying. Just really get your good qualifying lap in there, and spend a good 20 minutes, half an hour on your qualifying lap at least, just to really make sure you're starting as far forward as you really can. Because once you're in the middle of the grid or towards the back, it just becomes so hard, and it really is very difficult to have a good race when you're in the middle. So into the back of this guy. Now I'm going to go around the outside here, but I just back out because I know he's going to run me off if I go around the outside. So again, just backing off. There was contact though. So of course, every time it says the orange SR warning at the top of the screen, then your sportsmanship rating is suffering as a result of that. So you've got to really avoid even the tiny taps. Even where you don't get a penalty, you still have to avoid that at all costs. So coming into turn 1, so I'm going to bide my time here as he goes wide. I was thinking, I could have just gone for a repeat move, kind of what he did. You go for the forceful pass. As long as they don't go off the track, then you won't get a penalty, which is, you know what, it's kind of annoying. It can be a little bit frustrating, the penalty system these days, because it is consistent, but it's not right always. It just is not always right, and it doesn't apportion blame correctly in a lot of cases. It is frustrating. It is frustrating. It's part of the reason why the Forza regulation system is taking so long to make, I think. That's been promised for a long time, but it is so hard to make a system that works for every possible situation. It really is difficult. So I understand the difficulty in making a system that works all the time, but it is still annoying, still degrades the experience. So again, just another pass with contact. It was just really frustrating. This this whole session, I was just getting pushed wide the whole time. It was just really annoying that that was seen to be acceptable, and a lot of the time I was just doing it back. So coming up to Spoon, he defends it, but I was just going to go up the inside here. I didn't care what he did. He actually got out of the way of it. There was contact, but I just didn't care. He didn't go off the track, so I didn't get a penalty. But you can see the frustration boiling over now. So luckily there was no penalty, but still the sportsmanship rating would have been suffering slightly from that. So coming down the back straight towards 130, you can see the gap's now opened up to the Frenchman, which is not what we need. Come on, we need to catch back up with this guy. We can't let him beat us. Let's come into the final chicane, clipping that first apex, and then the second. You can really abuse that second curb, and then onto the main straight. That began that the Frenchman driving really fast in the straight line. The Audi TT that I'm driving here is also very quick, very quick in the straight line, which is I think the main reason why a lot of people are using it for this race. But the Megane is actually quicker. It just suffers, I think, a little bit through the twisty corners, of which there are a lot around Suzuka, of course. You see already through that first turn, just really bringing that gap down immediately. So we're going to hopefully bring this guy on the back onto the back foot. Now this is the frustrating thing, I think. These are the people who I don't like racing against the most. I least enjoy racing this type of person. People who are fast, because obviously this guy is fast, but they just have a dirty edge to them. Because there was a video I did, I think it was around Interlagos, maybe a couple of months ago, and the guy was very quick, he was very fast, but he was just going up the inside and just nudging you wide and then getting through. Never a clean pass, but always just with a tiny bit of contact just to get you out, and then he would dive up the inside. And it's that kind of person which you really have to watch out for, because they're just being really sneaky with the way that they race. So by the way, I would like to hear all of your experiences about this game. You know, what are your thoughts on how it works? Maybe if you're lower rated, tell me about your experience, because I do like to hear, and I like to know what people are thinking about it. Because as much as I've had a good experience most of the time, because I suppose my sportsmanship is mostly very high. Now that I've had this session here, I really understand the pitfalls of having lower rating and just being in the lower rated lobbies. It is difficult and it is frustrating. So coming down the back straight here, side by side with the Megane now, can we potentially pass around the outside into 130R? Unlikely, not a great place unless you're Fernando Alonso, so it's not quite going to happen. A bit of contact on the apex, and coming up towards the chicane, he's going to go to the left hand side, and then at the last second swerve across. So absolutely ridiculous defending. You never really just swerve across in the braking zone, and he's actually got himself a penalty. So there's some justice in the world, I suppose. Now coming down towards main straight, this guy is all over the place. You can just tell. I mean, if you want to improve your sportsmanship rating, the best thing to do here would be to sit behind and not do anything. But I'm always that guy who wants to go for the race win. He backs out and then comes back for a push. And this is the sad realisation that we can't have nice things in this world. And I'm actually being sent to the Shadow Realm on my Shadow Realm account. I've been rammed off for money. That's not good news at all. And then I get reset. So absolutely ridiculous time indeed. At this point here, I was just really considering buying a gun. And I mean, just, I don't know, shooting him or shooting myself. I just don't know. Maybe both. I think just do both. So it was really frustrating. Really frustrating. And the thing is, the guy probably only got a 5-second penalty at most. I mean, you're not going to get any more than that. So there's no way I could have caught up. It's really annoying. So coming up towards the end of the race, he finishes second. I mean, it's just an absolute joke, really, absolute joke. Crossing the line, and I finished in 6th. So what should have been a win, or at least a second, it turns into a 6th because you just get shoved off the circuit. But there we go. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Let me know your thoughts. I want to hear what you think and your experiences too. I hope you enjoyed the video as always. Subscribe if you're new to the channel and would like to see more like this, and I shall see you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.